First of all, thank you so much for the invitation to contribute to this important symposium. I am Maria Bouga. I'm based in Agricultural University of Athens in Greece. I'm involved in genetics, and I'm the senior editor of the Journal of Horticultural Research, so I have a close relation with UK. The title of my talk is Conservation Efforts, Import Status in Other Countries, and then there is a question mark regarding the illegal import status. It is well known that during not only the recent period, local European honeybee subspecies have been replaced overall Europe, reducing and even removing original subspecies diversity. The great effect is that the potential for adaptivity is under risk, especially under these conditions of climatic change. A variety of conservation efforts exist across Europe, and national red lists and red data books have been developed in many countries in order to provide arguments and support to the direction of the conservation of local bees. And this is another open question: local, native, autochthonous, whatever we call them. I would like to refer to the international, I think, well-known experiment performed by the Colos Group in the frame of the cost action this period, because it is, I think, until now, the unique experiment in this level that was international between many countries and many partners. And the aim was to estimate the importance of genotype-environment interactions on vitality and performance of honeybees and colony losses. That period, Colos, was a cost action. That's why, and the dates that the experiment was performed. This experiment included 621 colonies from 6 different genetic origins belonging to 5 Apis mellifera subspecies. Not all of the subspecies that are in Europe, but the most common. It took place in 21 vineyards managed by 15 partners in 11 European countries, ranging from the north to the south of Europe. So, okay, the output of this international experiment in many publications, and also it is a question if we learned and applied the output of this experiment, that there is no genetic superiority, but good adaptability. Don't know what is going on, sorry. Okay. Every genotype can perform differently in different environments, and local populations, whatever we call them, can survive better, can perform better, and even fight diseases better. And that means that the conservation and protection of local bees is the unique solution. So, in the frame of a Smart Bees European project, a project between 16 partners, there was among the aims to collect management data about the currently existing bee conservation areas in Europe in order to be used to network European conservation efforts. All this information and also updated information is in an article under preparation that Norman Karek and I will try to finalize this. That period, because the project ended on 2018, the summary of the collected information is in this graph, and we see that there is actually a great progress from 1977 to 2015 regarding the number of countries involved in conservation and the number of conservation areas. So, just to summarize briefly the conservation efforts that occur in Europe regarding different subspecies. Apis mellifera mellifera, AMM, is the most common in many, many countries in Europe. And as you know, SICAM, the international association, tries to support and unify these efforts. In France, there are many conservation areas that belong to an association that created in 2015. This association tries to unify all these efforts. The non-conservation areas are similar. The islands are different because of the isolation. And in these islands, it's not allowed to use beekeeping equipment. And in most of the French conservation areas, honeybees are monitored, very important. And if introgression is detected, the affected colonies is replaced. In Belgium, there were preliminary studies that they show the local population in a specific area. They try to conserve it, supported by an association created in 2004 for the protection of the local black bee. You know a lot more than me for Great Britain. Just I didn't want to exclude Great Britain and Ireland. And there are many efforts for the conservation, to establish conservation areas in Great Britain. And the associations try to support it. And also there is, regarding the Isle of Man, there is also an effort to unify the conservation efforts. And also this important project contributes a lot to this direction. In Ireland, again, much more information you got already, and you know better than me, but it is also a very special case that the Native Irish Honeybee Society gives a great effort to establish conservation areas, and the state regarding the bill from the Parliament for the protection of the Native Irish Honeybee, and also Grace referred to the Celtic breeding group, but in 2023, the Native Irish Honeybee conservation areas that were established, they were more than 340. In Norway, the Nordic brown bee is listed as a critically endangered husbandry breed by the Norwegian Genetic Resource Center. 3 areas, sorry I cannot easily pronounce the names, were designated as breeding areas for the brown bee, and the Norwegian Brown Bee Association focused on the conservation of these subspecies. Around 10% of beekeepers in Norway manage brown bees, around 1,000 colonies, all in legally protected conservation areas. This is a second important point after monitoring the legal status of the conservation areas. Denmark, as you may know, it's a very special case because of the free trade in Europe. The situation, as everywhere, is not so easy. So there was in 1993 an amendment to the law of beekeeping, made it possible for the minister to try to conserve the local Apis mellifera mellifera honeybees in Laeso Island, the whole island. Also, it is of great interest and experience that in 2001, the European Court decided that there would be an exception regarding the trade and to protect the local honeybees in Laeso Island. On the other hand, this is an example of a small close conservation population which has been reported to show clear signs of inbreeding depression. In Switzerland, we know 5 conservation areas. It is important the status in Canton Glarus, that there are many colonies and many beekeepers involved. Also, there is a local law for this conservation area. The Breeding Association maintains a selection program that involves a number of mating stations located in geographically isolated areas with 10 up to 20 drone-producing colonies. Again, the legally protected conservation areas work better than the others. In Russian Federation, there is a conservation of wild hive bee that they call it 3 bees, and they have established 3 national parks with many colonies, and also they have another combination with thousands of colonies held in boxes with removable frames. So they succeeded to achieve a status of biosphere by UNESCO called the Bashkir-Ural Complex. Also, there is another regional reserve that it is protected by the ministry and also with good results. In Poland, there is a special case that they have both Apis mellifera mellifera and Apis mellifera carnica. They have established conservation areas and they protect the local population since long ago. It is well noted that they have a very good line, the Carnolian Dobra, that the beekeepers prefer for many reasons, and they feel satisfied with this, and it is remained unchanged because beekeepers protect it. In Bulgaria, it is supposed that the legislation is that only the local Bulgarian honeybee, Apis mellifera macedonica, that it is a local ecotype Rhodopica, may be used for reproduction, but the truth is not like this. And also it is supposed that the importation is not allowed, but there are imports. Similar situation with Romania, that it is officially prohibited to import queens, but races data show the same importation. And these are the official data, not the illegal importation, but this is another story. In Spain, Portugal, Alice knows better than me. There are several conservation efforts for the Apis mellifera imberiensis. A conservation center was established in the frame of the Biho project in Basque Country that the University of the Basque Country is involved in. The same, there is a conservation project in Portugal. In Italy, there is a case of Apis mellifera liguistica, but also Apis mellifera siciliana in Sicily. There are several conservation efforts for Apis mellifera liguistica, several protected mating stations, and mostly run by associations. This is another thing, the associations, the state, and the scientists. The Emilia-Romagna region in Italy developed regional legislation to prevent non-local Apis mellifera liguistica from being brought into and bred in the region. And also we have the special case of Apis mellifera siciliana in Sicily. In all this, it is involved the National Registry of Queen Breeders, a conservation project, and the institution CREA API. Croatia, Slovenia, next level. It is supposed that they joined the European Union under the condition that their territory could be reserved only for their bees. They have both countries a long tradition, so the whole territory is considered as conservation area, but traces, again, data show imports. And again, what about illegal imports? Apis mellifera rutneri in Malta. This is very recent information that they decided to give a special effort for the local honeybee. So a foundation was recently created for the conservation of the Maltese honeybee in order to not to allow importation. The state is under obligation to protect the local bee. They have declared Apis mellifera rutneri as national insect, and they have provided a publication regarding the legal frame of the protection of the endemic Maltese honeybee. And just to hear from Turkey, as we have this information, there are several subspecies, but they give effort to conserve Apis mellifera caucasica and Apis mellifera antoliaca. The ministries are involved in this, and the foundation. And the third important thing after monitoring and legal protection, that the beekeepers get money from the government in order not to move hives and to support the in situ conservation. So, summarizing all this, some countries have established delimited conservation areas, but in other countries, there are conservation activities aimed at establishing conservation areas. Some other countries have declared the whole territory as conservation area. Planning is required to design, manage, and monitor conservation areas, and those with legal protection are more successful. Some honeybee conservation areas were established during the last period, but as you saw from the graph, during last period, there is an increase. But the establishment of a conservation area requires several steps, and among the first steps are to characterize the local diversity in order to detect the presence of a local population. Without detection of this, for what local population we're discussing. Thank you all for your kind attention. Sorry for the technical issue. And this is a photo from a local bee that we have performed a huge research performing different approaches in Amorgos Island, the Amorgos bee. Thank you very much.